A new free-to-use mobile phone tool has taken on the task of redefining the ways in which communities across the country go about bringing together small social groups and massive community organizations. In the hope of allowing rural and urban areas to engage with their community members by calling meetings, taking votes, and recording actions, the service has since been responsible for over 1,700 meetings across the country and also recorded over 200 votes and 250 actions. And these were completed by over 10,000 strong membership. And to discuss the importance of this service towards strengthening communities and democratizing them is the founder and CEO of Grassroots, Luke Jordan. Grassroot. Let's use the right name. Grassroot.
Grassroot, yes.
Right. Just tell me about the history and the evolution of this tool, Luke.
Sure. So the idea for Grassroots was really born about 1.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it came out of the experience of myself and some of my friends I had an experience in policy and government and governance. They were software developers and people who were involved in technology. And we had this idea that why don't we create a very simple set of tools that just make it a lot easier for people in informal settlements to just take action together. And it came out of a pretty deep-rooted belief that the ability to take action together is really at the heart of a lot of governance challenges, a lot of accountability challenges. The more that we can act together, the stronger we'll be as a society. So that's the original founding impulse.
Now, practically, how would it work? I mean, how would the community connect with one another?
So the tools work, as you mentioned, on any kind of phone. So even your old Nokias that have no airtime or data, somebody just dials *134 *1994 hash. That's it. And then it's a set of menus, like recharging airtime or doing mobile banking. You create a group, you give it a name, and then the system gives you a unique PIN, a sort of 4-digit PIN. You hand that out in the community. So people just type that in and they add it to your group. And then afterwards, you can go back into the system and just say, I want to call a meeting about some community issue. You type a date and time. We've built ways that it can recognize if you say next Saturday at 10 a.m., you don't have to kind of fiddle with getting it exactly right. And then it sends out an SMS to everybody in the group to say, so-and-so has called this meeting. And then it'll do automatic reminders and thank yous and that sort of thing.
And how would you say it's different from the WhatsApp application, for instance?
Sure. So WhatsApp is the thing that we're most often compared to. And I'd say there are a couple of key differences. One is we do reach every phone. So even if people don't have smartphones, Grassroots tools will still reach them with an SMS. Importantly, it's also, we do have a smartphone version, but let's say you've got data on Tuesday and you don't have data on Thursday. You can use the smartphone version on Tuesday and then swap over to the one that doesn't need data on Thursday. So it gives you that flexibility.
Yeah.
The other thing is we have these automated functions that remind people you don't have to think about that. Also, when you take a vote, nobody has to go through the messages and count it up. It gets counted up automatically. And then I guess the last thing is what somebody once called to us the dead cat problem, which is WhatsApp groups. You start a group to organize a community. It's great, but a few weeks later, somebody's cat dies, so they can't make a meeting. They say, sorry, my cat died. Somebody else posts a photo of a cat. Somebody else posts a photo of a dog, and pretty soon the whole group is just people swapping photos. So our tools are more purpose-built for principally the tasks of organizing.
Okay, and the backroom support, it looks like you provide some.
Yes.
It doesn't work on its own out there. There is some backroom functionality somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, what would that be?
So we have a dedicated full-time community builder who works in a lot of the communities. So we're active in about 20 to 23 communities in a few different provinces. What we've also started a couple months ago is, and we're expanding this now, is a program we call Grassroot Ambassadors, which is typically young people from within the communities who will go door to door and introduce the tool to people and then be on hand to answer any sort of questions. So we've kind of paired that up, and then on the back end, we're deployed on sort of servers that then automate a lot of these tasks.
Now, what sort of actions or issues do people vote on? What make people want to use this tool anyway?
So one of the stories that we've had was there was a group of activists in an informal settlement in Soweto who started mobilizing the community about issues related to public housing and some corruption in public housing. And they gradually got people involved. They used the tools to reach more and more people, and they now have about 1,500 people in their Grassroots group. They're our largest group. And they will meet on a weekly or bi-weekly basis about everything from they're setting up a food cooperative, they are talking about what to do with public land nearby, they're discussing what to do as a community next. So that's probably the most advanced use. It then reaches down to a lot of creches, for example, in some of these informal settlements will use us, and they'll sort of alert parents about things that are coming up or call parents to meetings or that sort of thing. So it's quite a spectrum, but those are some of the most common.
In terms of, can it be used by media, for instance, to test the views of their readers, viewers, listeners?
We could do that. The other thing that we'd like to do, particularly with media, now that we have a base of users, is we're very strict on privacy, so we never disclose what individual groups do. But what we can do is, for example, start looking at what are most of our users organizing about? Are there certain key terms that are coming up in the meetings or the votes, so that there starts to be a very kind of real-time view of what people are doing on the ground? So we'd like to do that and then connect the media possibly to people who are organizing about these things.
So you have to be part of a group before you can participate using this tool?
Yes.
Okay. Let's use this program as an example. Is it possible to test it here and see what, let's call it a community of viewers, what they think are important issues that we should be talking about here?
Sure. So the way that you would do that, for example, and I don't have my phone, so I can't do it live, but you would go in with a smartphone, you just create a group, and it would create that 4-digit code. You could then put that 4-digit code on the screen and just say, everybody please dial this number. They would then be part of the Tim Modise group. And then on the show, you could then just say, we're taking a vote about X.
Yes.
Type it in, and all of your viewers at that time will get that message. Those who have smartphones could just click yes or no. Those without them would have to dial back in, and it will ask them for their opinion. I would say at the moment we are restricted to yes or no votes.
Yeah, that's fine.
But you can say what that issue was, and then that will go out to everybody, and then they'd be able to answer it.
Well, I like to test things, you see, so I hope you don't mind. Can we try that?
We can try that if somebody has
We won't do it now, but
Okay.
on the back of this, let's see if we cannot do it in a week or so time.
Yeah, no, we'd
All
be
right,
very
because
happy to do
there's
that.
so many issues that I think people want to vote on as we speak, and you know, so many different views, but we can't just make sense of what the true sentiment is out there, right?
Yeah, we'd be quite glad to do that.
But given that everything is not free, it's not for mahala, who gets to pay or who gets to make money out of all this?
Sure. So we are a non-profit. We've been funded in our development so far by a couple of philanthropic foundations. So they've helped us cover the cost of developing the system and the initial surge of usage. We will be introducing a sort of freemium account. So we're going to introduce an account with somewhat additional features. So larger groups, an additional bit of flexibility in some of the features, and that will be on a subscription basis. So the plan is that now that we have the base of users, that we'll then introduce this, and the subscription costs from people who want to use it for more advanced features will help keep it free for people who are just doing the basic functions.
All right. Well, look, thanks very much for talking to us. And as we've said, we're going to try it on the show in a couple of weeks, in a week or so time.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Great.
That's Luke Jordan, the founder and CEO of Grassroot.